I think it's time to blow this thing. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Huh?
You sing off key.
Cowboy Bebop, the cartoon of anime. Now that you've started by giving this video a dislike, hopefully because of the title and not my over-enthusiasm fearing the OP, let me start by saying Cowboy Bebop is a masterpiece. A show that can be casually or seriously enjoyed, similar to Rick and Morty and all of its speculatory content on this site. So, please.
Don't get salty, alright?
But now that I've made you question your decision to dislike this video, let me assure you, it was well placed, as my next statement will prove you were, in fact, originally correct. In my opinion, Avatar is more of an anime than Cowboy Bebop, and I don't even mean The Last Airbender, which I'll get a lot of hate for saying because I haven't gotten around to watching it yet. I'm just talking about The Legend of Korra. Yeah, I'm a bit of a hipster.
A baby hipster, very cool.
Okay, now that everyone too stubborn or disinterested to hear this crazy man's delusions have left, let me begin my argument by saying Cowboy Bebop is without question anime. It oozes musical jazz style, is a visual plethora of intriguing themes, and handles concepts of depression, existentialism, violence, and hot 70-year-old ladies. Then why is it, I hear you ask, that I call the show the cartoon of anime? My reason for this is simple. It follows the standard set by the medium. Clickbait titles aside, it is in fact not the cartoon of anime, but the quintessential Western anime. Something we can hopefully agree upon, seeing as this show is widely considered to have attributed the most to the popularization of anime outside of Japan. Japanese media is styled very differently from the rest of the world, from their top-class horrors to their widely consumed JRPGs, and anime is no exception. It features storytelling driven in arcs, a singular story spanning multiple episodes, whereas Western shows almost always focus on the narrative of the episode itself, where story comes alongside but as a secondary focus. You see, the one-episode stories retain the attention span of viewers, while the small, infrequent plot developments keep them coming back every week. Think, as previously stated, Rick and Morty alongside others such as Supernatural, Lucifer, in fact any crime detective style show. Even something as seemingly intricate as Sherlock. There are exceptions to this of course, but these exceptions are exceptional, such as Game of Thrones. While I believe it is these similarities that open Cowboy Bebop to the Western audience, it is in fact the differences that allowed anime to gain such popularity due to the show. You see, both the quote-unquote filler episodes and the story-driven ones are capable of instilling a great sense of emotion in the viewer. In fact, I see this anime much like Darker Than Black, an underrated cinematic piece of gold taken for granted for its all too infamous second season. They are structured similarly in the way I previously described, and if you've seen both, you know what I'm talking about. If you enjoyed Cowboy Bebop, I highly recommend an episode or two of Darker Than Black to see if you like it. Come to think of it, Spike is, hey, how is Ein in another body? It all makes sense. The gates, the syndicate. About 6.5 minutes into recording dialogue, I should probably warn you, a standard Android phone does not record the rolls of S's very well. So maybe if I get at least a few decent views here, maybe someone just drop a casual $1,000 on a Patreon account that they create for me, I can get a decent mic. But let's not hold any fingers. The music in Cowboy Bebop is, as previously stated, oozing with style. And the only thing I can compare it to off the top of my head is Persona 5's soundtrack. Both are excellently jazz-fueled, a genre I must admit I'm not the biggest fan of, yet can't get enough of when done right. And I must also give the relevant shout out to the characters themselves, of course, which are also done exceedingly well. They are simple archetypes that the viewer can peg no matter what episode they start watching, which is very beneficial for a Western audience, such as Perry LeFou. Rest in peace, French pronunciation. One of the last episodes, which makes the show very attractive to a viewer catching a random episode on Adult Swim. Spike is the badass protagonist, Jet is the tough yet somewhat soft, caring, cooking leader and sidekick to Spike. Vel is the dumb hot chick, and Ed is the genius. A genius who knew of the gender wars long before, well, technically after 2017. She can identify with any name she pleases. Yet all of these characters have an incredible depth, that which is explored on certain episodes. As much as their personalities clash, they're all enjoyable to see on screen, and while some viewers may not be in love with Val, she has other assets that she brings to the table for the purposes of enjoyable viewing. So, long story short, Cowboy Bebop is the Japanese version of Megas XLR, but with boobs.